GitOps or describe what you want. Yeah, so as you know, nowadays we talk about this GitOps, but in the middle we just want to say that okay, we want to deploy our application, and how we're gonna to deploy? We don't really how to say. Yeah, we just want to have our application. This is our value, yeah, to deploy this application and that our application will be visible for everybody. And this is the idea. So, and I would like to start our presentation with quite interesting wisdom from Kelsey Hightower. It's like, never forget where you come from. So you will remember to help those who came after you. It's interesting, and let's start. So as you know, everybody wants to automate deployment process, and this is quite similar approach. So you have your declaration somewhere, maybe it is in the pipeline, maybe it is in the Git repository, somewhere declaration, and then you just run your CI pipeline, CD pipeline, and this CD pipeline will deploy it to your system. So it's quite simple. So in this, usually you declare what you want with YAML files. Sometimes you're using, I don't know, some steps like bash scripts which perform this deployment. And then you have the result in your system. So as we can know right now, we have another approach. It's like infrastructure as a code. Everybody is using it. We have a repository. We put in this repository our configuration. Then we apply this. And then in the Kubernetes, we have result. Yeah, we can apply it from our local computer. We can apply it from from our CI/CD pipeline. But the result, it's deployed to the Kubernetes. So it works quite fine. Everybody is happy. But then we have to face a problem. When we pull the repo, do the apply, then bam, everything works. Then somebody else try to apply it and then push these changes to the repo. So we have some already difference, yeah? And then somebody else pull the repo, apply these changes, but not immediately, but maybe after a day or maybe a week, try to apply these changes. But in the meanwhile, somebody else already applied another changes. So we have some kind of mess. Yeah, we see that our configuration is differs, and we don't know, don't really understand. Okay, what's the problem? Why it doesn't work, and so on. Why we have the conflicts in the configuration. So then there's another approach. You have your GitOps agent, which pull from the repository, also pull information from the Kubernetes. Compare this desired state with the state that currently in the Kubernetes or maybe in your system, and then try to correct this state. And then we have quite simple. It's always repo, apply, repo, apply, repo, apply, and we have our configuration applied. We not apply the whole configuration, but we apply only differences. So now in our case, everybody is happy. And also the way how we deploy our applications, it's we describe our application, do git commit, then do git push, and then we check, okay, if it's synchronized, yeah, everything synchronized, so done. And then we can see what exactly is in our commit message, what exactly we committed, yeah, what kind of changes were applied to our system. And we can also see who was applying these changes and what the reason for applying these changes. So we have a quite clear understanding what happened into our system, and we don't have something like questions, oh, do we have some manual changes? No, we don't have these manual changes because our tools guarantee us that everything that in the repository and everything is in your system is configured with one way, and there is no differences. So then you can also apply for your Git agent, this GitOps agent, that it can also not check that the configuration was synced, but also can check, for instance, if your application is healthy, if the change that you applied actually move your application into the health state, and if all of the synchronization, okay, so you have some kind of feedback. Because as you know, when you just apply it from your computer in one direction, you don't know the feedback. You don't know if it was applied and the result was as expected result. Yeah, because sometimes what happens that image is not exist, but your system can say, oh yeah, everything applied, but image does not exist, so deployment is failing, or maybe some secrets are not presented in the system, and then it also can fail the deployment, even though you have a successful result from your Kubernetes apply command. And then after a while, you can use your control version system in the Git repository. You can use it as a history tool. You can easily to see what the changes were applied, when these changes were applied, who applied these changes. And if you want, you can revert these changes. You can roll back to the previous changes. So no needed additional manual steps. You just need to just do git revert, push these changes, and then everything will be applied by your system. So no additional manual work included. And also you can use this history, and you can see what actually is changed. And you can see, for instance, okay, if I wanted to add additional endpoint to the black box exporter, what should I do? Yeah, what kind of changes I need to perform in order to achieve this state in my system? And you can easily grab through the history and find, oh, somebody already did it, somebody already applied these changes, so maybe in my case I need to do exactly the same, but change some additional variables. And this is clear for everybody, and afterwards everybody can see from it, can understand if this is, also you can do the pull request, everybody can see that the pull request is correct, and so on. And also a very nice communication tool between people in the team. Okay, and I would like to ask you as a contribution to this, think about automation with the GitOps, and also think about if it's a good to keep your deployment state in the Git, or what can we put in this Git deployment state. Can we keep, for instance, like a replica number in this deployment state, or should we use for this horizontal port autoscaler, and so on. And also, please learn more about GitOps. Thank you.